Good morning, 4th period class. This is Mrs. Crumpton. Today's lesson will be from your Glencoe Math Connects Course 3 textbook, Section 7.2a, Section 7.2b, Parallel Lines and Lines. This can be found at the start of page 408. The first thing you need to do is get down your learning target, and you need to get these vocabulary down. You will need to define these vocabulary terms. Most of you already have these defined here in class. We are recording live, so mind your manners. If you want to give a shout out to someone, you may do so very quickly. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Mama.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Okay, now the first thing that we're going to talk about is parallel lines. Now, somebody who has already looked up that definition for parallel lines, could you read us that definition, please?
Two lines in a plane that never intersect or cross.
Okay, thank you. Our definition for parallel lines, what was that again? Read it just a little bit louder.
Are two lines in a plane that never intersect or cross.
Parallel lines are two lines in a plane that never intersect or cross. So good job on reading that and finding that definition for us. So here we have two parallel lines. These two lines are parallel, and they're cut by a transversal, which was your third vocabulary term. Who has the definition for transversal? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and read that, please.
A line that intersects two or more lines.
Very good. A transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines. Now, what you'll hear me say is a transversal is a line that cuts two or more lines. Okay, so let's talk about
Does it have to go sideways like that?
the transversal. It does not have to go sideways,
As long as it goes through both of them.
as long as it goes through both of them. Now, a question that somebody asked me previously, what if the line doesn't go through both? Well, if this line is cut short and it only goes to right here, if it has the arrow on the end, then that means the line continues. Okay? So let's talk about some relationships between these angles. Okay, when I have parallel lines cut by transversal, there's some things about angles that you need to know that's going to help you through these two sections. First off, let's start talking about the difference in interior and exterior. Interior and exterior. Who can tell me, what does interior mean? Yes.
Inside.
Inside. The word interior means inside. So if I'm saying interior angles, what are we talking about here?
The angles inside the three lines.
Good. The angles inside the parallel lines.
That's what
So interior angles, let's go ahead and define that as the angles inside the parallel line.
So the exterior will be that one outside the line?
Correct. And as you said, the angles outside parallel lines are called exterior angles. Okay, let's talk about something called alternate interior angles. Now, we already know that interior angles are where?
Inside.
Inside the parallel lines. So the alternate part, what do you think it means to alternate or alternate? Switch opposite sides. Very good. Alternate interior angles are going to be angles interior angles that lie on opposite sides. I'm going to define that as inside angles. And I ran out of room to write there. I hope you can read that. Alternate interior angles are interior angles that lie on the opposite side of the transversal. So let's talk about which of these angles are alternate interior angles. Interior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. If I'm looking for the interior angle for angle 4, alternate interior angle, which angle will I be talking about? Opposite sides.
6.
6 is correct. My interior angle for angle 4 would be angle 6. Now there's something special about alternate interior angles.
They're right.
They're not necessarily right, but alternate interior angles are congruent. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Now we had that word last week. What does the word congruent mean?
Equal. Same.
Equal what?
Same.
Same.
Same size.
It's not quite what I'm looking for.
Angle.
Equal. No, y'all are just shouting out stuff. Congruent means of equal measure. Congruent angles are angles of equal measure. I got some guys right here. I'm fixing to turn the camera on and let your parents see you talking.
Sorry.
Okay, so alternate interior angles are congruent. So that means that angle 4 is congruent to angle 6.
Congruent means the same.
Congruent means of equal measure, or the same, yes.
So the angles 4 and 6 are the same.
Measure.
Could you use like letters with this instead of numbers? Like
You
numbers?
can, but right now I've got our diagram drawn with letters.
Oh, I'm sorry.
With numbers.
I was confused. I thought it was like you're saying 4 and 6 are equal, like the actual numbers.
Angle 4 is congruent to angle 6. Look right here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just was confused.
Angle 4 is congruent to angle 6. Also, angle 3 is congruent to angle 5. Now, when I'm talking about alternate interior angles being congruent, if you look at how I've drawn this diagram, you'll see that the way I've drawn this, it kind of looks like an S. 4 congruent to 6. 3 congruent to 5. So maybe that'll help you remember the alternate interior angles that are congruent.
It's like an hourglass in a way.
Yeah, it does look like an hourglass. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay, let's get us another diagram here. Let me get 2 more parallel lines drawn up here. Boy, this is going to be a good recording for some of your parents to hear. Audio recording. I'm sure they'll be able to pick out your voices. Okay, so we've got parallel lines again cut by transversal. And this time, as requested, I will use letters. This time we're going to talk about alternate exterior angles. Now, alternate exterior angles are also congruent. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. Now, just a minute ago, I used just the symbol for congruent. I want to make sure you understand that the word congruent and that equal sign with a little wavy mark over it means congruent. Okay, now, I'm talking alternate exterior angles. So which angles am I referring to on the diagram here?
A and G
A,
and G.
B, H, and G. Now, as far as the ones that are congruent, you are correct. My alternate exterior angles that are congruent are A and G. Angle A is congruent to angle G. And also angle B is congruent to angle H. Okay, any questions? Alternate interior angles are congruent. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. Got one more kind of angles that we're going to talk about, and this is taking care of some of your definitions too, by the way.
Miss,
Yes.
will there ever be an angle that when they're not congruent with each other?
Yes, there are angles that are not congruent. How about angle A and angle D? Are they congruent?
No, ma'am.
They are not.
All right, so like B and C ain't congruent, and E and H.
E and H would not be congruent either.
All right.
What would they be called if they were they're not congruent?
They would just be called not congruent. Maybe I need to turn the video over there on the two of you ladies, so we can let parents see who's talking. Okay, I'm going to go back to numbers here. Now we're going to talk about corresponding angles.
Could you do it like 1, 2, 3, 4?
Corresponding angles, let's get a definition for corresponding angles. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on there. Yes, ma'am, your definition for corresponding angles.
The same position on the two lines in relation transversal.
To the transversal, yes. Corresponding angles are those angles that are in the same position on the two lines in relation to the transversal. So we've got our parallel lines here. We've got our transversal. I'm looking for an angle that is in the corresponding position to angle 1. Same side of the transversal, same side of the parallel line.
Will it be 1 and 7?
Won't be 1 and 7.
1 and 8.
Won't be 1 and 8. Same side. 1 and 5 would be correct. So angle 1 and angle 5.
So it'll be 2 and 6 too.
2 and 6. Yeah, let's get angle 1 and angle 5. Corresponding angles are also congruent. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. Somebody said angle 2 and angle 6.
3 and
4 and
7.
8.
Angle 4 and angle 8.
3 and 7.
And angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. Very good. Y'all did a good job picking those out. Yes. Congruent angles are those angles that are in the same position on the two lines in relation to the transversal.
Could you do 1 and 3 if you wanted to?
We can't do 1 and 3. 1 and 3 don't lie in the same position, and 1 and 3 are both associated with this top line. See, they're not in the same position of the transversal like 1 and 5 are.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, one more set of parallel lines here, and I want us to talk about the measure of angles. I want you to keep in mind all that we've discussed so far about angles being congruent. Because this time, we're going to figure out some angle measures. I'm trying to draw this a little different each time so you can see that transversals may, and parallel lines can go any direction too. Okay, this time we've got parallel lines cut by transversal, and we have discussed which angles are congruent. If I tell you that the measure of angle 1 is 48 degrees, measure of angle 1 is 48 degrees, can you figure out the measure of the angles listed here, all the other angles? One says yes. How many? Does anybody else say yes?
What are we doing? Like, can you figure out the other?
Okay, so tell me the measure of one other angle.
Angle 7 is 48.
How do you know that?
It's the same thing.
Angle
Because they're
3 will be
congruent?
48 too.
Which one can be 48?
Angle 3.
Angle 3, okay.
5,
Angle 5, okay.
2,
No, 2.
Angle 2 is not going to be.
all
That's
white. I want 2 to be.
They told, we learned this at Apple School.
Good.
So,
That's good. So why can we say that angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent? What is the relationship between these two angles?
They're both acute.
Well, they're both acute, but I want you to think about something from the last section. What kind of angles are they? Starts with a V.
vertical.
Vertical angles. So we can say that angle 1 and angle 3 are 48 degrees.
Why ain't 2 48?
We'll see in just a second,
I'm
okay?
trying to get those to add up to 180 angle.
Yes. Angle 1 and angle 3 are 48 degrees because they are vertical.
So 2 would be 132.
All right, let's talk about angle 5 right now. And then I know y'all are talking about angle 2, but I want to talk about angle 5 right now. Why can we say that angle 1 and angle 5 are both 48 degrees? Think about the definitions we just looked at.
Just the alternate
For
exterior.
corresponding angles.
1 and 5 is 5 exterior. Look at it closely.
It'll be corresponding.
Corresponding. Corresponding is a better choice for that one. Angle 1 and angle 5 are 48 degrees because they
And you want to
are-
add up to 180?
hang on a minute. Let me answer that question in just a second, okay? Let's talk about angle 7, and then I'm going to bounce back to what y'all are still on number 2, angle number 2. Why can I say that angle 1 and angle 7 are congruent?
They're both vertical.
Not quite vertical. What are they inside or outside the parallel lines?
Outside.
Outside.
So they'll be exterior.
Exterior, what kind of exterior?
Alternate.
Alternate exterior angles. Angles 1 and angle 7 are both 48 degrees. They are congruent because they are alternate exterior angles.
So 3 and 5 will be alternate interior angles.
3 and 5 are alternate interior. Very good. That's correct. 3 and 5 are alternate interior. Okay, now I want to get on that number 2 angle that y'all have been, some of you been wanting to talk about.
Is that 1 and 3?
1 and 3 are 48, 1 and 5 are 48, 1 and 7 are 48. Okay, now angle number 2. Tell me something about that one. Yes, sir. How did you get that?
I subtracted 48 from 180.
Where did you get 180 from?
Is the line?
Because they make a line. Very good. Angle 1 and angle 2. If I just look at those angles, Let's just look at those angles, 1 and angle 2. If I added those two angles together, they would make a straight line. And a straight line or a straight angle measures how much? 180 degrees. So if I said 180 degrees minus the one that we know, 48 degrees, what do I get again for
132.
132? 132 degrees. Okay, now if I know that angle 2 is 132 degrees, can I find the measures of angle 4, 6, and 8?
Yes.
How?
They're the same thing.
Okay, well let's take it an angle at a time, and you explain to me what you mean by they're the same. 132, angle 2 and angle 4. What are they?
They'll be vertical.
Vertical angles. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. I could have said congruent on all of these over here too. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 4, and they're both 132 degrees because they're vertical. Vertical angles. What about 4 and 6?
The alternate in parallel angles.
Good, good. Let's work on our words a little. Angle 4 is congruent to angle 6, and you're dead on. They are alternate interior angles. Okay, now what about
So 8 would be 132?
8 is 132? Why?
Because it's congruent.
Congruent to what angle?
Number 2.
It is congruent to 2. How can we say that angle 1 and angle 2 and angle 8 are congruent?
They have the same.
What's their relationship?
1 is
Are they inside or outside?
They're both outside.
They're outside, so what about them?
They're both exterior angles.
Exterior, what kind of exterior angles?
Linear.
What's that A word?
alternate.
Alternate. They are alternate exterior, exterior. Alternate exterior angles. That's good. Good discussion here. Okay, now, one more thing that I want to talk about is perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines meet to form right angles. What is the measure of a right angle?
90.
9 degrees.
90 degrees. Very good. So if I had, and I am out of room on my paper, and I don't think I have any more paper, so let me just take a piece of this. If I had parallel lines cut by a transversal, parallel lines cut by transversal, and I know that the measure of this angle is 90 degrees, what's the measure of all the other angles going to be?
The rest of them are 90 degrees.
Every stinking one of these angles is going to be 90 degrees.
9 degrees. 9 degrees.
All of them.
9 degrees. 9 degrees. 9 degrees.
Very good. Very good. Now I'm going to close our discussion here today. And I want to, there is an assignment that I want you to try for formative assessment, ladies. Formative assessment. Problems 1 through 12. All of that talk. This has got a really good microphone. It's going to be on this video. Formative assessment numbers 1 through 12, page 411. Your assignment for grade. And I may grade it all. It may be all for a grade.
This is our homework.
Is that page 41?
No, page 411.
I couldn't see
Page
that one.
412 through 413.
You got it cut off.
Numbers 13 through 30. So 1 through 12, I want to check to make sure that you understand what we did in class today. I plan on taking a grade on 13 through 30, but I may also take a grade on 1 through 12. If everybody does a fantastic job on it, that'll be an easy grade for you. Please make sure you attempt these problems, and I will see you in class tomorrow with these problems attempted. Thank you very much.
Miss